Welcome to another episode of our podcast. My name is David Levine, founder and CEO of ResTech Solutions. And today we are talking about the future ready law firm, modernizing document authentication with technology and AI. And I'd like to welcome our guest today, Rugi. So if you'd like to take a moment and introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, David, for the time to speak today. My name is Rugi Kavamahanga, and I am the CEO of Apostille USA. And what Apostille USA is, we help uh, Americans and people, within the United States who or abroad who have documents that need to be authenticated for use in other countries. And normally, there's an apostille process that covers a large range of countries, but other countries are outside that. They have a specialized legalization process. And we've kind of helped bring automation, bring technology and use of AI in this industry to kind of transform an old, outdated with paperwork industry, something where we can do things faster, better, and easier for customers.
All right. Well, thank you. And I'm going to jump right into my first question. I know you probably already answered part of this, but for listeners who may not be familiar, can you tell them what exactly is an apostle and why is document authentication still such a critical but often misunderstood part of the legal and international process?
Okay, so to explain what apostle is important because most people don't know what it is till you have to get it. So most people understand what a notary is. So a notary, say you have a bank statements notarized in Texas, but you wanted to go do business in California. You could still go to California and do business and they'll accept your Texas notarized bank statements as legitimate. So what an apostle is basically that, but for international. So it's like in order for a document to be valid internationally, it needs to be apostilled. So like an example would be Spain. Spain gets a lot of tourists from Russia, France, United States, UK, Africa, everywhere. They don't know what a real driver's license looks like from the United States or from Texas or Kansas. They don't know what a Russian driver's license looks like. But apostille is a universal agreement between over 180 countries where it's a uniform standard. So they know that anything that has an apostille stamp plus the right signature, anything associated with it is real. So it helps facilitate the movement of people and the ability for businesses to be able to do business across borders by validating documents and validating people's documents for business or for personal use abroad. So that's the first part. And why it's challenging is because most of the industry is like started from notaries, and so a lot of people notaries are small mom and pop shops. So a lot of the, competition just have like websites from 10, 15 years ago. They do a lot of things still, uploading paper documents, having to write checks and just doing a lot of manual things where it causes a lot of errors, where it makes it hard to scale. So a lot of the existing businesses, you have bad customer experiences because there's so much processing going on. There's so many errors and so many things that you lose that human touch.
Well, I appreciate that clarification. So, want to also ask. So, I understand from our prior conversation that your business and firm operates across all 50 states, which I know is no small feat. So, what were the biggest operational challenges you saw in this space before building your platform?
Yeah, so we not only operate in all 50 states, but we serve every country in the world. So there's over 200 countries, in 50 different states. So one of the most important thing is we have a strong partner network. So like we have partners in all 50 states. So I think that's a key differentiator. We were lucky to when we started this business to find them and work with them early. So that's one of the core things that helps us is having this existing partner network, and that's kind of hard to replicate.
All right, well, great. And then also from our initial conversation, you had mentioned that many processes in the industry were outdated. So, what parts of the workflow did you intentionally modernize first and why?
Well, one of the things is like addresses, labels, and orders. So like, before like people like, you had to sign up a form and then you write your address and then someone else would have to write the address and then put it into like whatever, FedEx or something. So there's like a lot of places that could go wrong. Like we have like an elegant type, form where people can enter their information and everything goes into like a bespoke platform that we've made. So like that labels parts, that orders that goes away. And then also different things of like assigning order numbers, for each order. So in our system, we have timestamps of everything that's happened in the system or where the flows are at, so we can always look at any time to see what's going on. So like a lot of errors, people are like trying to look back, see what someone said, see someone did. We have it all like in a visible platform where we can kind of see everything. So we're able to track everything and we're just able to have a lot more information. So like the process of labels, the process of overview, just a lot of internal processes in our or working with our vendors and our different partners, everything kind of works seamlessly in the background.
So it sounds like you kind of have essentially like a centralized database that the info goes in one place and it can be referenced or pulled from, so it's not constantly redone. Correct?
Yes.
All right, perfect. And wanted to touch a bit on the AI topic because I know a lot of firms have been getting into using AI. So, one, is this something that you're currently leveraging, and if so, how has it changed the way that you're able to deliver a service compared to traditional Apostle providers?
So we're using AI. Like I'm not the technical guy, so there's some areas of the AI that we're using that I'm not very familiar with. But like from the customer serving end, one part that we're working on and we're gonna build it out so it's even more advanced, but is like basically, just to be able to respond quickly to answers and, like, with answers in depth, because a lot of the things people come to us is for edge cases, for, like, because 'cause we're, like, one of the premier people, so when they're in trouble, they look for us. So we've kind of identified maybe basically the whole thing, like 95% of what can happen, and we've placed them into, like, buckets of information, like, basically stock information, and we're able to use AI to basically answer quicker, faster, and better where, I can set the context, set the, what the customer question is, and then put like the kind of stock response that we have made. And then I can create like a really in-depth answer in like 2 minutes as opposed to if I write it in 20 minutes. And since we get a lot of volume, that's been able to help us more. And we're looking to build it out where we can, because AI is good, but you can't totally trust it yet. So everything. So like still have to review it. Like AI still get links wrong or things wrong. So we're a little wary about making it a full on thing where like people just click it and forget it. So that's something we're still trying to build it out and test it. But eventually our goal is to get it where like most of the response we can see and then we can overview and add little context and change it where so it could be even faster. Because the thing is with us, like we want to save as much time for human interaction as possible so we can answer things faster, as we can be more it can save time back and forth. It can save time of give us more time to have phone calls or customer consultations. That's one thing we really pride ourselves on is these free 15-minute consultations. So our goal is to use as much technology to free up as much time so we can actually have real engagement with people face to face to.
All right, well, perfect. Appreciate that insight. So, kind of want to shift gears a little bit more, what less of the business, more on you a little bit. So, as founder and CEO, what do you personally enjoy most about leading Apostle USA and building something in a space that most people don't think about until they need it?
Well, I guess maybe it comes back to me needing it. Like the origin stories, I was traveling and living in Brazil, and I was looking to get a visa. And Brazil is really strict and has lots of paperwork go back and forth. And I had to get apostille several times, and all the companies I dealt with were just a bad experience. They wouldn't like you couldn't talk to anybody. You have to like mail things in. I was just like, man, this is terrible. This could be better. So then then I had my lawyer who I was working with, and he was like, "This is a problem for me too." Like, cause like lawyers don't get paid until the visa's done. That's the last part of the visa. So it's a big problem. So it's like, if he has problems and other people have problems with this. So like what I did was I looked at the top 20 countries that Americans travel to. And then I went and spent a couple months of scraping the immigration lawyers in those countries, came to a list of like 2,000 law firms, contacted all of them, and developed 100 affiliate partners, and they send us a lot of business. Like I I enjoy the talking to people because like I've met a lot of very interesting people that have done very interesting things. Some good people, some bad people, but it's really interesting talking to people that are traveling, making these life choices, and like we're at the point now where we're like selling successful outcomes and like service, not just processing documents. So engagement with the customers. And it's also, nice to, I like seeing things organized. I like building, like working on building like out our marketing is interesting to me. Like when things like having to deal with, Google changing things or things like that. So it's exciting every day is I like dealing with the customers too because I deal with like last year I did over 1,000 customer calls. So like I think it gives us and it helps us in every way to change. little different things, little different ways of the business, understand the business more. So that's something I pride myself in, is just really understanding the customer and getting to know the customer and having relationships with customers.
I can appreciate that. So thank you. So this next question is probably one of my favorite ones I like to ask every guest. So what initiatives or improvements are you most focused on right now as the business continues to grow and handle even more sensitive documents for people?
I mean, we've really, last few years, got a lot of the processes improved. So now, like, we're really focused on, I would say, just sharpening up kind of like, on the tech side, there's still some things we wanna improve the database, improve things like that. Now we're looking at really growing the business, like, really trying to understand Google Ads more. We're looking at AI. To me, is like, there's a couple one of the things with AI that we didn't talk about yet is being discovered in AI search. So that's a big thing that we're working on. We're pretty good right now. Like, we have, like, a pretty good marketing strategy called Topical Mesh, where we produce a lot of content, different types of content every week on different countries, so we can create like a library. So one of the things we're focused on really building that out, and we're going to start doing more media, get more press links, because we feel like, being recommended by ChatGPT or like Google Gemini is going to be more important than being on the first page of Google Ads, of Google search, and even more important ads. And we're already recognized probably in the top two or three Apostille companies recognized by chatbots, but we want to be like the number one, the exclusive. And we've already seen maybe 20% of our business coming in from recommendations from chatbots. So that's something like we use the good strategy for that's really working, but we want to amplify that, amplify press, and we want to be separate from one of the top three to be the guy. And we think that's the number one real estate that companies should be focusing on more than, because Google search in the last year, like, our clicks went down like 85%, like, overnight, basically, as, like, now they're doing more Google Gemini answers and responses and stuff like that, and for, like, our types of queries, like, it just, like, killed our search, so, like, we had to recover. But it's more than amplified by Google AI, because maybe you get less volume, but the volume you get from, like, being recommended from ChatGPT, you close at a lot higher rate. So we haven't had any we're still increasing sales even though we lost 85% of our, search volume, and didn't a lot of it has been replaced by AI volume.
Yeah, and I would say you're definitely on the right path there because, everything I've been hearing from those who are in the know about AI and what's going on the search, that's everything that I'm hearing as well is that, yes, because more and more of what's being promoted is that, and when you're doing search is going to be the AI. So yes, that is definitely, I think, a trend that we are seeing across the board, all businesses, all industries.
Mhm. So that's one thing I'd recommend for any business, is really think about, like, your content strategy, because AI looks at it differently than it does, like, Google search. Like, the rules, a lot of the tactics they use are similar or the same, but how the AI looks at things is different. Like, it's not as much about backlinks and stuff. It's more about, your topical density, like, having signals with, like, outside of just search, like, do a lot, go to different platforms, like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, about, or maybe getting even pressed, or even things like this, things that give signals where they can kind of see. So it's a new thing, and we feel pretty good. Like I said, right now we're definitely the top two, maybe in AI search, but we want to be like clearly number one.
Well, great. And so I know you've talked about wanting to, grow more. So with the volume of obviously personal government issue documents that you're processing, how do you currently think about protecting the data as your systems become more automated and you're looking to do more, eventually more with AI?
I'm not the technical guy, so I don't know like the We but my I have a very strong technical co-founder who's focused a lot on security, so he's like more in depth to answer that. But that's something that I know we've addressed and we're constantly diligent about. Is that, especially our responsibility handling these type of documents is very important. But it's such an important thing that, I'd rather not speak on it because I can't speak fluently, as opposed to
Understood.
my CTO.
Okay, great. So, and I know this may also be more your business partner, but again, even from a business perspective, have y'all seen or run into any challenges, trying to balance your speed, customer service, and the data protection again as you're working the scale? I know as we're kind of approaching our time here, wanted to see if you had any final thoughts you'd like to leave with the audience.
We're talking about AI, I'd say two things. One is, like, we look at it not as like replacing people, but a way to augment what people can do. to free up time for the most useful human things. Anything that robots can do, let the robots do it so we can like be more human. So it's like not a way to replace humanity, but augment it, for us. And also, I think there's a, I think like learning how to promote yourself on AI and look at, how to be seen because like it was pretty crazy to lose 85% of search volume overnight. It's pretty crazy, and like to be able to adapt. So a lot of businesses, like I just need to be able to think a little bit differently and think more about more content, I think. Good content and try to find good stories and, press them across multiple, whatchamacallit, avenues, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, even every type of form. And so that way you almost can force if you put out, but you have to put out good content, then you'll force the AI to recognize you. And then I think, if it's not the most important now, I think in a year or two, if you're not, recognized by the chatbots, you're going to get left behind.
Makes sense. So, again, definitely appreciate the insights that you've shared with us today. And again, thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.